Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the studio. Well, I'm doing some videos talking about your shooting modes. That's the modes that you'll see on top of a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, or if it's point and shoot camera, it's in the menus. In the last video I talked about the auto mode, the intelligent auto mode, the scene mode, or my favorite term, the idiot mode. And if you want to know why it's called the idiot mode, go listen to that video. And in this video, I want to talk about the P or the program mode. Now, if you have a camera like this, you just turn it into the P, and when it's set at the P, that's in program mode. You may have a camera that you have to set it on the control panel at the top or in the control panel at the back of the camera. Program mode, what is it? Okay, let's go to the basic. Let's go to the day you buy your camera. Program mode is set up as the following. When you take your camera out of the box, put a battery in it, program mode is set up to automatically select the shutter speed, the aperture, automatically select the correct ISO, automatically select the correct white balance, and automatically select the correct focus point because it's usually set to the multi-focus point. Now, if you watch my previous video, you're going to say, that sounds a lot like intelligent auto. You're right. It does because it is. It's set up to be the most basic setting that you can set it to. The great news is with program mode, you can change those settings or many of those settings, and you will learn photography by doing it. Now, beware, you may screw up. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But the great thing is in program mode is that you can start changing settings to get more consistent pictures. Whereas in the auto mode, you cannot change the settings. In program mode, you can start to learn what the ISO does. You can start to learn to know what focus points do. You can start to learn to change the white balance. You can start getting into a lot of this stuff, and that will help you get better at photography. In the auto modes, you can't. Now, bunny trail. Whenever I talk about the auto modes, people are like, yeah, okay, whatever. As soon as I talk about program modes, I start getting rude comments from people that always say, well, that's not the right mode. You should never use program mode. Why is it you accept the auto everything modes, but program mode you get offended by? It's a good learning place. It's a good starting place. Is it the best mode to use? No. Is there a best mode to use? No. And if you see a video out there that says only use this mode, they're lying to you because you can't use just one mode. There's different situations for everything. And there's different modes that will make one situation easier or another situation harder. Different modes work. Program mode is just a mode. It's a tool to use. So what can you do in program mode? You can start to customize your camera to work as you want it to. You can go in and say, I want to be able to set my ISO to a specific ISO and go from there. You can change the white balance and say, I want my white balance to be this and go from there. You can change your focus points and go from there. You can do exposure bracketing. You can do exposure compensation. You can do a lot of the stuff that you can't do in the idiot modes. But beware, you can tell your camera to do stuff that it can't correctly do. Perfect example. A number of years ago, a lady came in here. Her daughter had graduated. She had set her camera up, went and took some pictures, and the pictures were horrible. Well, she had it in program mode, and she told the camera to shoot at 100 ISO inside of an insanely dark church. The camera did what it could do by setting a slow shutter speed. It set the widest aperture it could to let the most light in, but all the pictures were blurry. They were exposed pretty good, but the pictures were blurry because she moved her camera just a little bit, and with the 100 ISO, which should have been set to 16 or 3200, the camera was struggling to get her a good picture. So beware, you can screw up your pictures in program mode. The great news is you can learn and you can improve your pictures. In the auto modes, they're less consistent than in program mode. In program mode, you can get more consistent pictures. The problem is that consistency can also be horrible pictures. I'm consistently getting horrible pictures. That's because you told your camera to do something it can't do. The great news is as you learn photography, program mode becomes more of a tool and you can get better quality pictures with it. So program mode works. Program mode is a good mode to get into. I strongly recommend, if you've always used the auto modes, the scene modes, or even if you've used program mode without adjusting it, get into program mode and start learning to take pictures in there. Now, don't do it for the first picture you're going to take that's important to you. Learn it when you have time. So when do I use program mode? What do I use program mode for? Well, if you ever travel with me, you'll know my camera is set to program mode as I'm traveling. Why? Because I don't know what I'm going to shoot. I really don't. Unless it's my big lens where I have a mode that I set that one to, everything is set to program mode. When I show up at an assignment, my camera is set to program mode because I don't know what I'm dealing with. I don't know how quick I'm going to shoot. I don't know what I'm going to be shooting. So my camera is set up to program mode. It's set to settings that I know that I'm comfortable with, and then I go from there. I will change my camera as I start taking pictures, as I start figuring out what the situation is, but I keep it on program mode. And part of the reason I've done it like that is because I used to be on call to take pictures 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for newspapers. I didn't know if I was getting called out at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. As I'm driving to a scene, as I'm driving to an event or whatever, I had to be able to take pictures when I got there. I couldn't take 20 minutes to set up my camera. So setting it to program mode, setting my ISO to where I knew it was a great way for me to do it. Another time that I used program mode a lot was with weddings, because certain things in weddings change drastically. The lighting changes drastically. And one of the big ones was when a bride showed up at the church and got out of the limo and then walked into the church. I would set my camera to program mode. I would set my ISO quite high, higher than I normally would for inside or outside. And I would go out and take the picture of the bride getting out of the limo. I would follow her into the church where she met her mother, her father, or her bridesmaids, whatever, and I would be able to take pictures from the outside to the inside with good results. Not perfect, but it would work, and the changing light didn't handicap me as much as other modes would have done. So that's what I use program mode for. I use program mode at family events. I don't want to be the photographer at these events. People always say, will you take your picture, or will you take our picture, or will you take this picture? No, I'm there because I want to be there and I want to participate as well. I don't want to be the photographer. I want to enjoy as much as other people. Program mode allows me to do that. I still have control. I still can set stuff, but I'm not tied to my camera. I'm not holding my camera, adjusting it all the time. I can actually enjoy life like the other people. So program mode does work for a lot of stuff. Are there other modes to use? As I've said before, yes. But if you're just learning, start with program mode. Start learning how to adjust your camera. Start learning what white balance does. Start learning what ISO does. Start learning about other stuff that you can now set in program mode. It will improve your photography. You'll be happier and you'll be able to get better quality pictures. So until next time, get out there, take some amazing pictures. Play with your camera, try your camera, and see how you can improve by using program mode. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.